Have you ever noticed how, as we get older, things that used to be simple, like getting out of bed or walking up a flight of stairs, start to feel a bit harder than they used to? Maybe you found yourself feeling more tired during the day, or perhaps your doctor has mentioned a few more things to keep an eye on than you'd like. It can feel like aging sneaks up on us, little by little. And before we know it, we're wondering, is this just how it is now? Well, the good news is, no, it doesn't have to be. Aging may be natural, but suffering from its silent effects doesn't have to be your story. Today, we're talking about something incredibly important. What I like to call the silent killers that tend to creep in after the age of 65. These aren't always loud or obvious. In fact, that's what makes them so dangerous. They're the little habits, the unnoticed changes, and the it's probably nothing moments that can add up to serious health issues if left unchecked. But here's the empowering part. Once you know what to look for, you can take action. You can outsmart aging. In this video, we'll explore 4 of the most common and overlooked threats to your health after 65, and more importantly, how to stop them in their tracks. These are things that can affect your energy, your mood, your independence, and even your life expectancy. But with a few smart, simple choices, you can take back control. So let's start with one of the biggest culprits, something that affects millions of older adults but is rarely talked about: muscle loss. Now, if you've noticed that carrying groceries feels a little heavier than it used to, or that your legs get tired more quickly, you're not imagining it. After the age of 30, we all begin to lose muscle gradually, but after 65, that process speeds up dramatically if we're not doing something about it. The medical term for this is sarcopenia, but you don't need to remember the word. Just know that it's real, it's common, and it can sneak up on you. The tricky part is, muscle loss doesn't always look like you expect. You don't have to be visibly thin or frail to be affected by it. Even people who look normal can have dangerously low muscle strength, especially in the legs. That's why falls become such a big issue in older age. It's not just about balance, it's about strength. But here's the best part. You can build muscle at any age. Yes, even in your 70s, 80s, or 90s. The human body is remarkably adaptable. And you don't need a gym membership or fancy equipment to do it. Start with simple body weight exercises. Things like standing up from a chair without using your hands, climbing stairs, or doing gentle leg lifts while seated. Aim to do a little bit every day, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes. Over time, that adds up. And if you're up for it, walking with a bit of resistance, like light hand weights or using walking poles, can do wonders for your muscles, especially in the arms and shoulders. And don't forget protein. Your muscles need fuel to rebuild. Adding a little extra protein to your meals, like eggs, beans, fish, or Greek yogurt, can make a big difference. Let's move on to something a little less visible, but equally dangerous: chronic inflammation. Now, I know that word might sound a little technical, but think of it like this. Inflammation is your body's way of responding to injury or illness. That's a good thing in small doses. But sometimes, especially as we age, the body's immune system stays on even when there's no immediate threat. That low-level inflammation can quietly damage your cells over time, and it's been linked to all kinds of serious issues, from heart disease and diabetes to Alzheimer's. And the tricky part? You might not even feel it happening. You might just feel a little off, tired, sluggish, maybe a little achy or foggy. Nothing dramatic. But over time, this kind of inflammation wears your body down. So, what can you do? Well, the good news is, your lifestyle plays a huge role here. One of the most powerful things you can do to reduce inflammation is to clean up your diet. Not in a strict or punishing way, but in a way that supports your body. Focus on colorful fruits and vegetables, healthy fats like olive oil and nuts, and cut back on processed foods and sugars. Think more home-cooked meals, fewer takeout boxes. Even small changes, like swapping white bread for whole grain or drinking water instead of soda, can start to calm inflammation in the body. Movement also helps. Even just 20 to 30 minutes of light walking a day gets your circulation going, which helps clear out inflammatory substances. And don't underestimate the power of stress management. A calm mind leads to a healthier body. Deep breathing, a bit of quiet time, maybe a few minutes in the garden, it all helps. Let me share a quick story with you. One of my neighbors, a woman named June, told me last year she was feeling tired all the time. She chalked it up to just getting older. But after a bit of nudging from her doctor, she started making a few small changes, switched to a healthier breakfast, added a short walk every morning, and started stretching before bed. Within a couple of months, she told me she felt like she had rolled back the clock by 5 years. It wasn't a miracle, it was just consistent, small actions that reduced the inflammation silently dragging her down. Now that we've covered muscle loss and chronic inflammation, let's look at something else that doesn't get enough attention. Loneliness. You might not think of loneliness as a silent killer, but science tells us otherwise. Studies have found that loneliness and social isolation can be just as harmful to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Shocking, right? But it makes sense. When we don't feel connected, our mental and emotional health suffers, and that spills over into our physical health. People who feel lonely are more likely to develop heart disease, depression, sleep issues, and even cognitive decline. And the hardest part is, it's not just about being physically alone. You can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely if you don't feel truly seen or heard. So, what can you do? The key is to stay engaged. Maybe that means joining a walking group, calling a friend once a week, or volunteering in your community. Even small connections, chatting with your neighbor, sharing a cup of tea with a friend, can have a huge impact. And if you've lost touch with someone, reach out. Chances are, they're feeling the same way and would love to hear from you. It's not about having dozens of friends. It's about having a few meaningful relationships that bring you joy and comfort. There's still one more silent threat we need to talk about, and it might surprise you. It's not something you can see in the mirror or feel right away, but over time, it can chip away at your memory, your focus, and even your sense of self. I'm talking about poor sleep. Now, you might be thinking, oh, I've never been a great sleeper, or it's normal to sleep less as you get older. And yes, sleep patterns do change with age, but that doesn't mean you have to settle for restless nights and foggy mornings. In fact, sleep is one of the most powerful tools you have to protect your brain, your heart, and your immune system. And when it's neglected, it can quietly wear down your health in ways you might not even realize. Poor sleep is linked to a higher risk of memory loss, heart disease, depression, weight gain, and even a weakened immune system. Think of sleep like your body's repair time. It's when your brain processes memories, your heart gets a break, and your cells clean up the daily wear and tear. Without good sleep, your body doesn't get that tune-up it desperately needs. So what can you do if you're tossing and turning or waking up feeling like you haven't slept at all? First, try setting a consistent sleep routine. I know it sounds simple, but going to bed and waking up at the same time each day, even on weekends, helps regulate your internal clock. And your body loves routine. Limit screen time in the hour before bed. The light from TVs, tablets, or phones can trick your brain into thinking it's still daytime. Instead, wind down with something calming. Maybe it's a warm bath, soft music, or reading a few pages of a book. If you're a tea drinker, something like chamomile or valerian root can be helpful, but always check with your doctor before adding new herbs or supplements, especially if you're taking medication. Also, pay attention to what you're eating and drinking in the evening. Heavy meals, alcohol, or too much caffeine can make sleep more difficult. And don't underestimate the power of a cool, quiet bedroom. A fan or white noise machine can make a big difference, especially if you're sensitive to nighttime sounds. One man I spoke with, his name's Howard, used to wake up 6 or 7 times a night. He thought it was just part of aging. But once he started turning off the TV an hour before bed and keeping his room a little cooler, he said he started sleeping like he hadn't in years. It's like my brain finally has a chance to breathe, he told me. That's the kind of change we're after. Not perfection, but progress. Now, let's talk about something that ties all these points together, a lack of purpose. It might not sound like a health issue at first, but hear me out. As we get older, especially after retirement or after children are grown and gone, many people start to ask themselves, what now? Without work, routines, or people depending on us in the same way, it's easy to feel like our lives are shrinking. And that feeling, it can take a real toll. Studies have shown that having a strong sense of purpose can actually lengthen your life. It helps reduce stress, supports healthy habits, and gives your brain something to stay sharp for. People with purpose are more likely to stay active, maintain relationships, and take better care of themselves. It's one of the most powerful predictors of well-being in older age. The beautiful thing is, your purpose doesn't have to be anything grand. It doesn't need to be starting a business or writing a book, though it certainly can be. It might be something as simple as caring for your garden, mentoring someone younger, helping a neighbor, or being the go-to storyteller at your family dinners. Maybe it's picking up a hobby you used to love, like painting, music, or baking. Maybe it's joining a group at your local community center, or even just making a habit of calling one friend each day to check in. What matters is that you wake up each morning with something to look forward to, even if it's small. Purpose gives meaning to our days. And meaning keeps us going, even when our bodies try to slow us down. One of the most inspiring people I ever met was an 88-year-old woman named Ruth who volunteered twice a week at an animal shelter. She'd tell me, "Those cats don't care how old I am, they just know I bring them food and love." That was her purpose. And you could see it in the way she moved, in her energy, and in the way she talked about life. There was light in her eyes. That's what we're all after, isn't it? So far, we've looked at some pretty big challenges. Muscle loss, inflammation, loneliness, poor sleep, and lack of purpose. They're sneaky. They don't always show up in obvious ways, and they don't knock you off your feet all at once. But over time, they wear down your quality of life, little by little. And here's the thing. You don't need to wait for a diagnosis or a doctor's warning to do something about them. The best time to take care of your health is always now. And I want to take a moment to say, you're not alone in this. If you felt tired, unmotivated, or unsure about what to do next, it's okay. We've all been there. Aging is a journey, and like any journey, it has its ups and downs. But that doesn't mean you're stuck. It just means you might need a new map. There's real power in small steps. Maybe today that step is taking a short walk. Maybe it's calling someone you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe it's adding a vegetable to your lunch or setting an earlier bedtime. Whatever it is, just start. Start where you are, with what you have. It's enough. And when you take care of these silent threats, you're not just adding years to your life, you're adding life to your years. That's what really matters. When you think about it, aging isn't about the number on your birthday cake, it's about how you feel when you wake up each morning. It's about how easily you move, how clearly you think, how connected you are to the people around you, and how much joy you still find in everyday moments. And the truth is, even after 65, 75, 85, you still have so much life left to live. We've talked about some of the most overlooked but impactful threats that can sneak into your life quietly. Muscle loss, inflammation, loneliness, poor sleep, and that deep down sense of lacking purpose. These aren't just medical issues. They're lifestyle signals, gentle reminders from your body and mind asking for a little more attention, a little more care. And the best part? Every single one of them is manageable. Not with extreme diets or intense exercise, not with expensive treatments or fancy gadgets, but with real, simple changes. A short walk each day. A phone call. A few more vegetables on your plate. Protecting your sleep. Finding something to wake up for. These are the choices that shape your future. Now, maybe you've been listening and thinking, that all sounds good, but I've let myself go a bit, or asterisk, I wish I had started this sooner. Asterisk, if that thought crossed your mind, I want you to let it go, right now. Because the truth is, it's never too late to start taking better care of yourself. You can't change the past, but you absolutely can change where you go from here. One of the most powerful things you can do for your health at this stage of life is simply to stay curious and stay engaged. Learn something new. Try a new recipe. Go a different route on your daily walk. Teach someone something only you know how to do. You've got decades of wisdom and experience, and someone out there needs it. I've seen people completely transform how they feel in just a matter of months. Not because they suddenly became super fit or started running marathons, but because they began making mindful choices. They paid attention. They listened to their bodies. They stayed connected, ate better, moved more, slept deeper, and found meaning again. And they didn't do it all at once. They started with one thing. Just one. That's all it takes to start a chain reaction. one walk, one healthy meal, one better night's sleep, one phone call, one purpose. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving forward. If this conversation resonated with you, I hope you take a moment to reflect on what you might want to change, or what you already are doing right. Give yourself credit. You're here, you're learning, you're taking interest in your well-being, and that in itself is powerful. Let's be honest, the world doesn't always celebrate getting older. But that's their mistake, because getting older is a gift. A beautiful, complex, and powerful gift. And when you protect your health, you give yourself the best chance to enjoy every part of it. From quiet mornings and belly laughs, to the joy of watching your grandkids grow or dancing in your kitchen with your favorite music playing. So let this be your reminder. Aging may be inevitable, but how you age is up to you. You are not powerless. You are not too late. You are not done. You are still becoming. Now, if any of these ideas struck a chord with you, I'd love to hear from you. Have you made a small change recently that's helped you feel better? Or is there something you've been meaning to do, but haven't started yet? Share it in the comments. I'd love to know. And chances are, your story will inspire someone else watching this. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more videos just like this, encouraging, practical, and designed to help you live your best life at any age. Here's to stronger bodies, clearer minds, deeper sleep, real connections, and a renewed sense of purpose. Here's to living your best life, starting right now.